Leadership is not about being right. It's about getting it right. And sometimes getting it right starts with, I'm sorry.
This is the Champion Forum podcast with Jeff Hancher, the forum for leaders, champions, and dreamers.
Today I'm tackling a leadership strategy that's rarely talked about, but I think it's deeply powerful. And it's the strategy of apologizing. Welcome back to the Champion Forum podcast, everybody. I am your host, Jeff Hancher, and I am on a mission to help others lead, inspire, and win in this life. Let me go on record as saying this and opening with this. Apologizing is not a weakness. It is not a weakness. Matter of fact, I would tell you it's a leadership strategy. And if you want to build trust, if you want to heal fractures and lead from a position of strength, then mastering the art of leadership apology is a non-negotiable. Today, I'm going to be breaking down the ingredients of what I believe a meaningful apology is, why so many leaders do not do it well, how can we become better at it, and how can apologizing become one of your most impactful leadership tools. Now, look, I'm not here to tell you apologize 50 times a day, because that means you're messing up probably too much. That means that you might be doing people a disservice by under-preparing, or maybe you're underqualified to lead. But if you're apologizing 50 times a day, that's not a great mantra for leadership. What I'm talking about today is apologizing when you need to. Because look, if you're running around 50 times a day and telling people you're sorry, you know what you are? You're sorry. There is a time and a place for a heartfelt apology. What I'm talking about today is that leader that never wants to apologize because they see it as weakness. I'm here to tell you that a well-placed, well-timed apology is one of the most impactful leadership things that you can do. But let's start with the truth. Most leaders, I'm stereotyping, but I'm going to say it, most leaders are terrible at apologizing. Why? Well, there's this belief system that it makes you look weak as a leader. It undermines your authority. Or maybe we genuinely don't think we did anything wrong. I know that's not you listening, but have you ever ran into that person that never thinks they're wrong? And you're like, gosh, just a quick apology would be nice. Here's the problem. Leadership mistakes that aren't repaired, they become cultural cracks. They're going to crack the foundation of your culture. You may not feel this ripple, but I will tell you, your team is feeling it. Your team is absolutely feeling it. You may be void of feeling this ripple because it's not really impacting you. It's impacting the people around you. Morale drops, engagement starts to go to a simmer, trust begins to erode, and the leader is literally oblivious. And often, all that's missing is a heartfelt apology. So why don't we maybe just shift our mindset a little bit and see this whole apology thing as part of our leadership strategy? A genuine apology, it's not about self-deprecation. It's about relationship restoration. And some of y'all need to hear this for your own personal relationships probably. Forget about leading at work. This is probably maybe some good nuggets for in the home. You know, if you have a spouse or a kid or whatever, and they need to hear this, go ahead and send it to them. I'm just kidding. Look, when this is done right, when apologizing is done right, it rebuilds trust. Not to mention it models humility, right? When you apologize, you're saying, I'm humble, I don't have all the answers, and I'm wrong. It diffuses resentment. It shows high emotional intelligence as a leader because now you're saying, I am self-aware, I own my blunder, I own my mistake, I own my setback. And it resets the whole tone for the team. Think about it. How often do you or have you seen a leader own their mistake without conditions? And if you're listening, you know who you are if this is you. I'm talking about how often have you seen, forget about you, how about the leaders that you have reported to over the years? How often have you seen these leaders own their mistake without conditions, without excuses, without blame shifting? Well, if it was me, well, it wasn't me. It's rare. It's so rare to see it, which is why this whole apologizing thing is so powerful. If you're going to use apology as a leadership tool, it's got to be done well. It can't just be, hey, man, sorry. No, that's ineffective. I'm not hating it, but it's not the best way to go. It's got to be done well. And here's some things to think about to know you're on the right track to doing an apology well. You got to own it fully. You got to own it. None of this, hey, I'm sorry you felt that way. Come on now. Is that an apology? I'm sorry you felt that way. That's not an apology. That's not owning it fully. Instead of saying, well, I'm sorry you felt that way, or I'm sorry that offended you, say, I was wrong. The decision that I made, it hurt people, and I own it. I own it. When you're apologizing well, the other thing that you're doing is you're being specific. This is something that we taught our kids growing up when they were young. You were not allowed in my house to come to me or to mom and say, I'm sorry. You weren't allowed to do that. Why? Well, look, good start. But anytime my son, my daughter would come to me and they would say, Dad, I'm sorry. I would say, sorry for what? Tell me what you're sorry for. Why is this? One, it identifies exactly what it is that needs forgiveness. And two, it helps reframe your mind, and the likelihood of doing it again, it goes down. General apologies feel like PR moves. Nobody likes that. Hey, man, sorry. Specific apologies, they feel heartfelt. They feel personal. You might go up to somebody or go up to your team or whatever it might be, and you say, I spoke too harshly in our last team meeting, and I called you out in a way that I shouldn't have, and that wasn't fair to you. That's a great opener for a heartfelt apology. And look, don't over-explain it. Don't over-explain the apology. You can give context later, but don't bury the apology in a litany of justifications. Let the apology land before the explanation follows. Hey, listen, man, I'm sorry that happened, but I got to tell you, I really had a bad day. I stepped in dog crap on the way to the work. My own boss was giving me the riot act. I came up short on our numbers for the month, blah, 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 and I'm sorry. Save it. You don't want your apology to get buried in volumes of justification. Just own the apology. It's going to land so much better. And acknowledge the impact. Acknowledge the impact of what is going on, what is taking place. It's not just about your intent. It's about how your actions literally affected other people. Leader, we're not perfect. We're going to blow it. Things are going to go sideways. We need to acknowledge the impact whenever we fall short. You might say, listen, I realize that caused confusion. And I realized that what I did made the team feel devalued. That's the impact of maybe what you did or how you led a meeting or how you responded to the team's poor results. That's not our heart as a leader. But when we acknowledge the impact and how sometimes what we do impacts other people, it makes for a great apology. But look, apologizing alone, I think that's good. But great is committing to change, and even greater is changing. The best apologies, they point towards the future. They point towards autocorrect. They point towards I've learned and I'm going to improve. And it might be as simple as you saying something like, here's how I'm going to make sure this doesn't happen again. Now what they're seeing is this isn't just an apology anymore. This is somebody that's owning it and taking action to minimize the risk of it happening again. There's some things that you really need to avoid whenever you're going to use apology as a strategy. Don't use vague language. Vague is, well, yeah, some mistakes were made. What? That's not owning it. That's so vague. You know, the whole project blows up and you're the reason it blew up. And somebody's trying to call you out on it a little bit and you say, no doubt mistakes were made. What do you mean? No, you are the reason the project failed. Own that thing. And don't shift blame. You know what that sounds like, right? This blame shifting strategy that a lot of leaders get really, really good at. Here's how blame shifting sounds sometimes. Well, listen, if people misunderstood you, it was black and white what you said. You were acting like a moron. That's what we're talking about here, right? And I know that's not you listening, because the people that listen to this show are not morons and they get it right a lot, right? But you hear my heart here. Hey, look, if people misunderstood me, everybody did. Did you hear yourself, right? Own that thing. Sometimes we use it as a manipulation to shut down feedback. We can't do that. I will say this, a bad apology is worse than no apology. Don't say it unless you mean it. Like, if you're going to go down this sideways apology, you might as well just take this thing into the end zone and own the whole thing. Because if you go the other way, this toe in the water kind of apology, it's going to be a major turnoff for a lot of people. Here's the bottom line. The leader who apologizes builds a culture of humility, earns long-term credibility, and shows their team that strength and softness, they can coexist in leadership. And I'm here to tell you, it's absolutely possible. The highest respected leaders that I've ever been around have found a way to carry great strength, a chest out, a head high kind of leadership mantra, but they had a tenderness about them that made them real. And it's possible. It's not a weakness. It's wisdom. And I can tell you this from personal experience. Some of the greatest breakthroughs that I've ever had with my teams, clients, and even my family have come on the other side of a genuine, heartfelt apology. I remember one time when we were trying to think of, we were on the heels of performance reviews. And we're at the senior level of leadership, we're talking about pay raises. And so I had an Excel spreadsheet with every manager's pay, and I accidentally sent it to the entire team. Can you imagine this day? Can you imagine? Now, I hit the unsend and, all the stuff that you got to do as fast as you possibly can, but some people saw it. And man, it created some serious agitation in my region. And I had to host a conference call as fast as I could, and I had to own that thing. Do you think, what did I do? Say, how dare you open that file? I can't believe you did that. No, I was the one that made the mistake. I had to own that mistake. But I will tell you this. I don't know if it made things perfect, but I think it made things better. There was no way out of that one. And hopefully it allowed me to build some credibility and some respect long-term from my team. So here's the challenge for you. Who do you owe an apology to? Is there a team member? Somebody in your personal life? A client? Someone you led poorly maybe? Maybe somebody that you hurt unintentionally. Own it. Speak it. And mean it. And watch what happens, not just in your leadership, but in your relationships. Leaders, you don't have to be perfect, but we do have to be accountable. So own your missteps, and when needed, apologize. And do it with strength, but do it with sincerity. And as always, keep turning that pressure into potential.
The Champion Forum podcast with Jeff Hancher. Lead, inspire, win.